over-the-top. No, we had no over-the-top rules. We were totally reasonable, thoughtful parents who made solid decisions at every turn.
For decades, Ron Howard has been the embodiment of Hollywood grace and the all-American boy next door. From the golden streets of Mayberry to the glimmering lights of Hollywood, his life seemed scripted for perfection. A charming smile, flawless performances, box office triumphs. The world only saw success. But behind that radiant image was a story rarely told. In a recent candid interview, Howard revealed the shadows lurking beneath decades of acclaim, the choices that still weigh on him, the family crises that nearly tore him apart, and the personal sacrifices he quietly carried through the lens of fame. In 1991, as awards were being handed to him for films that captivated millions, a storm raged at home. His younger brother Clint battled the suffocating grip of addiction, a secret hidden from the limelight. Simultaneously, a newborn daughter was growing up in his absence while he chased cinematic dreams across the globe. And there was the moment on set when his body simply couldn't keep up, the collapse that forced him to confront the fragility behind the relentless pursuit of perfection. Ronald William Howard was born on March 1, 1954, in Duncan, Oklahoma. His entrance into the world was more than a birth. It was a prelude to a life entwined with performance. His father, Rance Howard, had already carved a path in Hollywood, while his mother, Jean Spiegel, nurtured the artistry that would define their family. From the moment young Ron opened his eyes, the environment was one of dialogue, cues, and camera lenses. By 18 months, he had already debuted on film in Frontier Woman. While other children took their first steps in playgrounds, Ron learned to hit marks under studio lights, to emote authentically for cameras that never blinked. As the family relocated from Oklahoma to California, they weren't chasing glamour. They were positioning a family for proximity to opportunity. Rance Howard's dedication meant juggling hundreds of acting gigs just to stay close to his son's unfolding career. From the earliest days on Playhouse 90, Ron's childhood blended seamlessly with his professional life, forming a foundation that would shape not just his craft, but his values. It was a golden cage, safe yet isolating. By the time Opie Taylor was introduced to the world in 1960, 6-year-old Ron had already absorbed lessons in discipline, integrity, and truth, skills that would echo in every frame he later directed. On October 3, 1960, television audiences met Opie Taylor, and they weren't just watching a show. They were witnessing a young boy whose life had been sculpted for authenticity. Ron didn't simply act. He responded, observed, and absorbed. His father, Rance, didn't simply drop him off on set. He guided, mentored, and protected. He challenged scripts that felt hollow, ensured that Ron's interactions were real, and remained the steady anchor in a world that demanded performance from every angle. That handshake with Andy Griffith on the early read-through wasn't just a business gesture. It was a promise of emotional truth that would define the show for 8 seasons. Even as fame blossomed, Ron's life remained tethered to ordinary routines. Public adoration collided with private sacrifice. While other children played baseball in sunlit neighborhoods, Ron memorized lines in makeshift classrooms near stage sets. Social norms, friendship, and carefree moments were replaced by rehearsals, camera setups, and adult expectations. Yet, those early experiences forged an extraordinary work ethic and emotional intelligence far beyond his years. By 9, Ron's performance in Opie, The Birdman, demonstrated a maturity that could move audiences to tears. He didn't just emulate sadness. He tapped into real emotion, controlled it, and released it on cue, an ability rare for any actor, much less a child. The pressures extended beyond acting. The Music Man demanded musical skills Ron didn't possess. For weeks, he struggled with tone, rhythm, and confidence, whispering doubts to co-star Shirley Jones. But he persevered. He transformed anxiety into authenticity, learning an early lesson that would echo through his directorial career. Preparation, persistence, and emotional truth were inseparable. Meanwhile, Rance and Jean ensured a balanced upbringing. Ron attended local schools, played sports, and lived a disciplined, humble life despite the camera's glare. Clint Howard followed a similar path, absorbing the rigors of Hollywood while nurturing his own craft. Through triumphs and failures, The Howard household instilled a foundation of humility, resilience, and empathy, a family culture that would later guide Ron through the inevitable storms of adult life. By 14, the final episode of The Andy Griffith Show marked not just the end of a series, but a symbolic passage into adolescence. Ron had spent nearly his entire childhood under the unblinking eye of the camera. He left Mayberry not with fanfare, but with quiet reflection. The next chapter, Happy Days, Hollywood fame, and eventual directorial acclaim, was waiting, but the lessons learned in those early years remained his guiding compass. The leap from child actor to teen idol is often treacherous. For Ron Howard, it was no different. At 19, he walked into Gary Marshall's office and effortlessly claimed the role of Richie Cunningham on Happy Days. But his triumph wasn't about charm or luck. It was a culmination of years of meticulous training, observation, and internalized discipline. He didn't try to act like a teenager. He simply embodied a relatable, grounded authenticity. That effortless connection with Henry Winkler, the cast, and the audience wasn't scripted. It was earned through years of emotional training under his father's guidance. Despite the accolades and soaring popularity, Ron felt the weight of stifled growth. Playing a perpetually cheerful teenager in a world scarred by war and social upheaval created tension between reality and performance. He pitched scripts and storylines that reflected deeper truths, only to be restrained by network conservatism. Yet even in compromise, Ron began learning the art of subtle influence, a skill that would later define his directorial style. Directing began not as ambition but necessity. Season 5 of Happy Days allowed him to step behind the camera, managing complex sequences with precision beyond his years. His ingenuity in planning tracking shots and maximizing tight budgets drew admiration, discomfort, and awe from cast and crew alike. Even as a young director, he demanded authenticity over performance, emotion over spectacle. Outside the set, life surged forward with personal milestones. At 21, he married high school sweetheart Cheryl Alley, a grounding force through the chaos of sets, scripts, and shoots. Their partnership emphasized stability, love, and shared responsibility, forming a safe harbor amid the relentless currents of fame. Family became Ron's anchor, shaping decisions and priorities even as his creative ambitions expanded exponentially. While the world knew Ron Howard as Richie Cunningham, few realized the director within was already shaping his craft. In 1976, he took on Eat My Dust, a modest teen car crash film from Roger Corman. On the surface, it seemed like a simple acting gig, but Ron struck a deal. He would star only if he could direct the next project. That project became Grand Theft Auto, co-written with his father Rance, a chaotic, adrenaline-fueled film that destroyed cars, blurred lines between stunt work and real danger, and showcased Ron's meticulous vision. The movie had a $602,000 budget and earned $15 million, a staggering 2,400% return. The audacity of filming on real roads, using family members as extras, and capturing chaos in its rawest form, marked Ron's signature. Risk tempered with preparation. Even as he explored directing, Ron remained tethered to personal responsibility. At 21, he married Cheryl Alley, his high school sweetheart, cementing a partnership that would endure Hollywood's unpredictable tides. Cheryl became his anchor, managing home and family while Ron pursued ambitions that demanded long hours, international travel, and creative courage. Their relationship wasn't just love. It was a partnership, a safe harbor for a man whose life was often on set, on the move, or buried in scripts and storyboards. By 1984, with Splash, Ron Howard had confirmed his mastery of storytelling. Directing Tom Hanks and Daryl Hannah, he balanced technical innovation with emotional nuance, navigating complex underwater sequences and demanding performances while keeping the heart of the story intact. Test audiences initially resisted the original bittersweet ending, but Howard, attuned to the human need for hope, revised the narrative. Love, triumph, and emotional resonance were always central to his vision, proving he didn't just want to entertain audiences, he wanted to move them. This period also marked the formation of Imagine Entertainment with producer Brian Grazer. Their partnership wasn't simply business, it was a shared vision, an insistence on quality, innovation, and the ability to take creative risks while maintaining discipline. The films they produced, from Night Shift to Apollo 13, weren't just commercial successes. They were personal triumphs, testaments to a man who had transformed childhood discipline and responsibility into a lifelong ethos of preparation, collaboration, and emotional storytelling. By the 1990s, Ron Howard had become synonymous with success. Apollo 13, 1995, demonstrated his relentless dedication. Filming required recreating zero gravity aboard the Vomit Comet for 612 sequences, mastering NASA's real mission panels, and leading a team through grueling 18-hour days. On day 90, his body gave out. He collapsed, dehydrated and exhausted, forcing the crew to pause. Yet, that collapse wasn't a failure. It was proof of a man who poured heart, mind, and soul into authenticity. The film earned $355 million worldwide and garnered 9 Academy Award nominations. But Howard's triumph came at a personal cost. Amid career highs, personal lows shadowed him. His brother Clint, once a rising star, had fallen into addiction, and it took confrontation, love, and tough choices to salvage their bond. Ron's rising fame had unintentionally left loved ones behind, and guilt became a quiet, persistent companion. His own children, particularly during extended shoots like Far and Away in 1992, felt his absence. Moments that should have been milestones in fatherhood became bittersweet reminders of sacrifices made in pursuit of cinematic excellence. Yet, through every failure, setback, and near collapse, Ron learned resilience. Missteps, such as the financial losses from EDTV or the public criticism of Hillbilly Elegy, became lessons in humility and perseverance, not deterrents to creativity. Even as awards stacked and box office numbers soared, Ron's focus remained on truth in storytelling, whether through the real-life complexity of A Beautiful Mind or the painstaking research for Frost/Nixon. Every project became a reflection not just of talent but of lived experience, a fusion of personal empathy and professional expertise. Critics could argue, audiences could debate, but the underlying principle was consistent. Every story had to resonate with authenticity, every character had to breathe, and every decision carried emotional weight. Behind every success story was the constant tension of family responsibility. Cheryl Howard remained the cornerstone, balancing a home while Ron navigated the demands of an unforgiving industry. Raising 4 children, Bryce Dallas, twins Jocelyn and Paige, and Reed, was a task made heavier by Hollywood's pressures. When Bryce was born, Ron's involvement in directing her first school play became a source of regret later. He realized the difference between guiding and pushing, between loving from a distance and being present in crucial moments. His brother Clint's battle with addiction further amplified this emotional complexity. Ron's success could not shield his family from hardship, but he confronted the darkness directly. Ultimatums, interventions, and unwavering support saved a life and strengthened their bond. The lesson was simple yet profound. No matter the accolades, no achievement could replace presence, love, or empathy. These experiences shaped not only his parenting but his approach to storytelling. Emotional stakes weren't theoretical, they were personal. He carried the pain, the triumphs, and the quiet regrets of his life into every frame he directed. This emotional depth resonated with audiences, whether through the psychological complexity of A Beautiful Mind, the human courage of Apollo 13, or the subtle moral truths embedded in Frost/Nixon. Howard had learned that to truly connect with an audience, one must first confront one's own heart. Even after decades in Hollywood, Ron remained willing to take risks. Eden, a 2025 survival thriller, exemplified this courage. The $55 million production flopped, grossing just $1 million, yet Howard's commitment to vision and creativity never wavered. Similarly, Solo, a Star Wars story, presented logistical nightmares, reshoots, and public scrutiny, nearly ending his directing career. In both cases, Howard leaned on family and his own perseverance, refusing to let setbacks define him. These experiences revealed a critical truth: success isn't linear, and mastery demands vulnerability. Howard's creative risks were fueled not by ego, but by a relentless desire to tell stories authentically. Whether directing large-scale studio films or intimate documentaries like Rebuilding Paradise, he approached each project with the same emotional rigor that had defined his childhood performances. Mistakes were acknowledged, lessons internalized, and resilience became the engine driving him forward. By 2025, Ron Howard had been married for 50 years, co-run Imagine Entertainment for 4 decades, and directed countless projects. With over $200 million in net worth, numerous Oscars, and Emmy nods, he could have rested on past accomplishments. Instead, he dedicated himself to mentoring young directors, sharing lessons learned through decades of triumph, failure, and reflection. Even in quiet moments, Howard carried a lifetime of reflection. The empty seats at dinners, the children who barely remembered his presence during long shoots, the brothers saved from addiction, and the father who taught him truth and discipline. All these shaped the man behind the camera. Each film, each scene, became an echo of his personal journey. Joy intertwined with sacrifice, love coupled with regret, and ambition tempered with responsibility. Ron Howard's story is more than Hollywood legend. It is a testament to endurance, empathy, and unwavering commitment to truth in storytelling. The smiles, the awards, and the box office records only scratch the surface. Behind them lies a man who has loved deeply, risked boldly, fallen, risen, and ultimately left a legacy that will inspire generations.
Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more dives into Hollywood's hidden history.